Hey guys, welcome back to our YouTube channel. Today I'm going to be going over how to do carnivore on a budget. So when I first started out, I really struggled. I was the type of person who didn't really eat a lot of meat to begin with. Maybe if I had some chicken breast or something that my mom would cook once in a while, I'd have meat in my diet, but I knew nothing about the different types of cuts of meat, what was going to be economical. So I felt a little bit lost at the beginning, and actually, I was quite lost for a good amount of time. I would stick to strip loins, prime rib steaks, and I focused a lot on steaks. It was kind of like the Michaela Peterson lion diet. But having been eating this way for almost 3 years, I have learned so much about the different types of cuts of meat, what our body needs, what makes me feel good, and also keeping everything at a low price because we all want to save money where we can. So I'm gonna share this video with you guys in hopes to make this process easier for you and a little bit lighter on your wallet. As I mentioned in my previous videos, I really ate steaks and eggs for like the good first year and then gradually reintroduced some nose to tail organ meats. But now what I eat is a wide variety of mostly beef cuts, a little bit of pork, a little bit of chicken once in a while, and seafood. So I'm gonna go over the most economical cuts of meat that I have found. And keep in mind, this depends on where in the world you are. So I'm kind of basing this more on the North American area of the world, but it may vary. I know in one of my videos I said that the flat iron steak is cheap where I'm at, and someone from I think Switzerland commented and said that flat iron is very expensive where they are. So I'm not going to list prices for you guys because it depends. I can say that beef back ribs are $4.99 a pound, but then maybe you'll go to Whole Foods and it's $8.99, or you'll go to Costco and it's $5.99. So it will vary. I'm not going to list prices. I'm just going to give you a really good list of affordable cuts of meat that I have found. And then with that list, you can go and explore yourself. But you will have a huge, huge list to work with to keep this diet exciting, interesting, versatile, and you won't get bored and you'll get all of your nutrients in, guaranteed. Alrighty, so let's get started. I have my list over here, so if I'm looking this way, just know I'm reading off of my list. Number one thing that I recommend that everybody incorporate within their diet is ground beef. Ground beef is something that we eat at least 3 to 4 times a week. The last three nights, we've had ground beef every night. Can't get bored of it. I love it. You can cook it in many different ways. I recommend getting high fat ground beef. Our whole lives we went for the lean ground beef. Go for the high fat. Get those healthy fats in. My butcher does it. Actually, my farmer and the butcher, I guess they work together. They do 20% fat ground beef. So it's very, very satiating. Leaves a lot of yummy, yummy juice in the pan, which you can then pour over. Super, super yummy. You can also get nose to tail ground beef. My old farmer used to do that, where he would mix liver, tongue, and heart in with the ground beef. It's very yummy, and it's a great way to get your nose to tail organ meats in if you can't otherwise stomach the taste of those organs. It's masked very well in ground beef. So that's something that I recommend. Ground beef is so versatile. You can do hamburgers, you can do ground beef bowls. I recently posted a what I eat in a day video where I literally just take ground beef, slap it in a pan as is, like kind of like in a square, sear it on one side, sear it on the other side, and it's fantastic. It's like a ground beef steak. I recommend if you do that you do it in a cast iron, or like I have this cast iron lodge with like grill marks. It's fantastic, super, super high heat, so versatile. I love ground beef. I didn't really like it so much at the beginning. I thought it was kind of boring, but once you get creative with it, You will not be bored, I promise you, and it's so cheap. I love it. And you can also do ground pork, so ground beef, ground pork, and ground chicken. Ground lamb I find is a little bit more pricey, but the other three, they're very affordable. If you're gonna get ground pork, and if you can afford it, I suggest that you get pasture-raised pork. It's really important when eating pork and also chicken and beef, in my opinion, that you source the highest quality meat that you can find. So yeah, with ground beef, like I said, you could do hamburgers, you can do ground beef bowls, you can even do meatballs, you can mix ground beef and ground pork and do these yummy meatballs. And what I love about ground beef, and especially doing meatballs, is you can store it for the week, so you can batch cook and then just put it in a little Tupperware and you can pick at it as you go. So for people that are trying to save time and have busy schedules, this is a perfect on the go snack, something you can pick at for breakfast, or you can just, when you come home from work, it's already there in the fridge for you. Grab a couple of meatballs, fry up some eggs, and you're good to go. So this actually leads me to my next affordable, economical, animal-based food: eggs. Eggs are amazing, nutritious, powerhouse food. I recommend pasture-raised, free-range eggs. So this is very tricky because I think marketing can be so deceiving, and it could say on a package pasture-raised eggs, but then on the side they're feeding them soy or corn. So what I suggest is talking to your local small farmers and asking them what they feed their chickens, and really getting down to the bottom of it. It's going to take a little bit of trial and error. If you cannot afford pasture-raised eggs, just buy the best brand that you can find, the best quality that your grocery store can have. You'll find something. At the end of the day, just get those eggs in. Eggs are, I think, one of the most versatile foods you can do. Scrambled eggs, breakfast, you could do sunny side up, you can do an omelet, and then we move all the way to the desserts. You could do egg muffins, egg yolk pudding, or egg pudding, egg pancake, egg wraps, what else? Cheesecake. The list is endless. If you guys watch my videos, you see I have so many egg recipe videos. I love eggs. Sometimes if I'm on the go and I'm hungry, but I gotta go, I gotta head out, just make 3 fried eggs and I'm good to go. And do not fear the yolks. I sometimes eat up to 5 to 10 yolks a day. Not always. I haven't done that in a while. I've kind of been just saving the eggs for like dinner, but I've had my phases where I eat up to 10 yolks a day. Don't be afraid of the yolks. The yolks contain so much valuable nutrition that we need, and we're told to avoid them, but of course, we're not going to listen to that misinformation. All right, so we have ground beef, ground pork, ground chicken, eggs, and next on the list, organ meats. Nose to tail. Very important. You will be surprised to find out that, at least in North America, these cuts are the cheapest. Nobody wants them. Nobody wants to eat tongue. Nobody wants to eat heart, liver, kidney, but we do. We know the importance of eating these cuts. So we're gonna eat them, right? We're gonna ask around, we're gonna shop around. Don't go to the first farmer. Don't go to the first butcher shop. Ask around. Do yourself the service of shopping around. When you're gonna buy a car, you're gonna shop around. You're not gonna buy the first car. So do the same with food. Source your food. Take the time to source it because it will pay off in the long run. I didn't really eat a lot of nose to tail at the beginning of this diet. I was not educated enough to know the value of eating these cuts for my health, but now I do, and I incorporate, I'd say, one of these once a week. So some weeks we'll have liver, some weeks we'll have heart, some weeks we'll have tongue. It all depends. And also when I order, I usually order like at least a pound, and I'm not going to eat an entire pound of liver in a day. I'm not going to eat the whole tongue in a day. So with these economical cuts, you can stretch them out. I'll make tongue or heart and then chop it up in slices and eat it throughout the week. So you save in the long run because you're cooking for the whole week. Um, and then one of my favorite parts, or I guess parts of the cow to buy is bones. And some farmers will give you the bones for free. So this is a life hack. Not all farmers do, but some do. And I know Danny's sister was working at a butcher shop, and they would actually throw out the lamb head and the lamb neck because no one's gonna buy that. And Danny's sister was like, "Hey, can I have that? Can I take that home?" And they actually gave it to her, and we made the most amazing lamb neck soup. It was like sacred. So what I would do, and what I've done in the past, is contact like 10 butchers, 10 farmers around your area. And actually, if you're living in America, I'm gonna post a link below. The Strong Sisters posted this a while back. I hope I can find it, but it's a link to where you can find grass-fed farmers all throughout the states. So if you cannot afford, or you think you can't afford grass-fed, don't worry, shop where you can. But check this list out. You may be surprised at the prices. They're not that much more expensive for these economical cuts. So with bones, what I love to do is I love to make soup. More often than not, the bones already have a little bit of meat on them. So I'll just throw it in my Ninja Foodie and either slow cook a soup or pressure cook a soup. And then what I like to do is after 2 or 3 days of eating the soup, I make a stew with a cheap cut of meat. Whether it's super lean steak or a super lean roast, I throw that in there with the soup. It's not a lot of soup. You gotta have a little bit less, so it's more of like a stew. And you are left with this tender, pull apart piece of meat and this beautiful gelatinous sauce stew thing. And then there you go. You had soup for like dirt cheap. Now you made a stew from that soup, and you throw in all of your lean cuts of meat, the cheaper cuts of meat, which I will mention below. I have a list of that as well. So get your hands on some beef bones if you can. Also, chicken feet. Chicken feet are super cheap and very good for you. You can make the most gelatinous soups from them, and then you can also turn it into a stew after. You can make a little sauce by adding a little bit of raw cream. Can't go wrong with soup bones. When it comes to steaks, things can get very pricey. I have found a couple of steaks that are cheaper, but of course they are more on the lean side, more muscle meat, which is okay because then you can pair it with your crispy beef fat, or you can put them in a stew. So those are sirloin steaks, flat iron steak, blade steak, round steak, and stewing beef. These are the cuts that I have found to be most economical. And then in terms of roasts, we've got tri-tip roast, brisket, sirloin tip roast, rump roast, and eye of round roast. So what I love about roast is when you buy a roast, it can, so for example, a brisket, 2 pound to 3.5 pound brisket can cost you anywhere from, if it's grass fed, $30 to $40, which seems like a lot, and it is a lot, but you have to think that you're not going to eat it all in one sitting. It's pretty big. So you can portion it and eat from that brisket for 3 to 4 days, which in my opinion is pretty good. You can add it to your soups, you can make it for breakfast, so you can get creative. You don't have to eat the entire roast in one day and then think, oh no, I just ate a $30 meal in one day. And then I've got also written down beef back ribs and Korean style ribs. I found that these are really amazing if you're looking for something with a higher fat content, gets you full really fast, and you don't need a lot. And then I've got on my list, I don't eat pork very often, but I've got pork chops, pork baby back ribs, and pork liver. So that's about it. This is the entire list of what we eat. What I don't have on this list, because I find it's not economical, is seafood. I do think it's important to get your seafood in, especially salmon. If you can get some wild caught salmon once a month in, that's better than nothing. If you can get smoked oysters, cheaper than the like fresh oysters, you usually get the smoked oysters in a can. That's also a really good idea. But in terms of economical cuts, this is a very good list. You could start here. That's a lot to pick and choose from. I would shop around. You have this list to begin with. Find out prices, find out rates. If you can't afford grass-fed, grass-finished, that's okay. Go shop around, look at the meat, the color, study it, ask them where they get their meat from, and make use your own discretion and make the best decision for yourself and your family. Danny and I literally eat from this list. There are maybe 4 or 5 other things that we are not on this list because they're more expensive, like for example ribeye steak, or what else? I mean, we pretty much eat from this list actually. But when we like to treat ourselves, we know that it's a treat, and we typically spend around $5 to maximum $600 a month for 2 people on food. I don't think that's a lot. We used to spend a lot more recklessly and just we used to have like a freezer full of meat, and I would order all the time. Now we have a freezer. I order weekly, but I keep the budget to around more or less $100. And then there's a few extra things that we get from the farmer's market, like a squash or avocado sometimes, plantain, but papaya. But for the most part, when it comes to meat, we're spending around $100 a week. That's for 2 people. So I think that's pretty good. Once you can narrow down exactly what it is that you like, what it is that you don't, and you've sourced it from whoever you can get it from, who has the best quality for you, you really can get down to the cent and save a lot of money and properly nourish yourself, which is very, very important. So I hope this helps. I hear a lot of the time that I can't do this diet, meat is expensive, and I beg to differ. I feel like no food goes to waste. We eat every single thing that we buy. I have so many friends that like I go to their house and go get some water in the fridge, and I see their veggies and they're like dying, they're dead, they've been dead for like 3 days. just rotting away. You'll never see that in our house. If I have, so I bought there's another thing that came to my mind. When we treat ourselves, sometimes we'll get skirt steak, which is a bit more pricey. I got some skirt steak from my farmer, and I don't know why I didn't like it. It was very tough. So what I did with it, with the rest, was I put it in a stew and I slow cooked it, and it just, just became pull apart, like melt in your mouth. So nothing goes to waste. Absolutely nothing. So yeah, I hope this video was helpful. Let me know if I missed anything. If you guys have any cuts of meat that you find are affordable, let me know. I'd love to know. And I wish you a beautiful weekend. Thanks so much for watching and for all the love. We love you guys, and have an awesome day. Don't forget to watch these 2 videos on the screen. Give me a like and a subscribe if you want. Have a great day. Bye.